Hello, hello, everybody. Hope this broadcast sees you well. Now, this broadcast in particular, if you are subscribed to this channel and you are in section 800, that is the this section is this particular broadcast is meant for section 810, which is a bit shorter, and as many of you did point out a couple of times over the semester that some of the things like the details of some of the assignments were changed a little bit from what I was telling you in other videos, and things were shorter, or not things were shorter, but rather the time limits were shorter in terms of due dates. And that would be why, because there's a 5-week course and a 10-week course. This is the broadcast for the 5-week course. They are finishing their semester, or rather, I should say you are finishing this semester. I'm only going to post a link to this video for you all in that shorter section. Speaking of which, it's been about a minute of me rambling on. Where is the link? Come on, YouTube. The only thing I don't like about this YouTube format that we've got going on is the fact that it takes a good minute to 2 minutes of the broadcast to actually populate my channel so I can give you a link that's just to this video. Otherwise, you'd go to my live channel page, and if there's nothing streaming at the moment, then you wouldn't see anything. So we've got to fix that. Okay, go to my channel. Channel, please. Channel. All right, it's not showing there yet. See this? Grumble, grumble, grumble. There we go. I think we got it now. Okay, time to copy and paste this bad boy. And we'll be on our way. So, did I actually close out the tab? I sure did. So buttons on your underwear. Okay. Now Blackboard's acting up. That's not good. Last broadcast link. So what we're doing tonight is we're just kind of going over a couple things. We do have one last little writing assignment. It should be short, if intense, because well, we'll see. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. Come on, Blackboard. Tell me you did it. There you go. All right, we can finally load up the PowerPoint and be on our way. Okay, so there we go. I always do this with every session that or section that I teach. I want to go over the goals of the course and explain how I feel like you have, as a group, mastered them. And speaking of mastery, your grade should be coming up shortly. I do want you to know or have some feedback on your longer informative speech that was due last week before you turn in this one. Is there anything in there that'll change the way that you do it? Probably not. Um, just explaining, not using any specific examples, but as a group, you all did pretty well. The biggest mistake was maybe you were still shy in front of the camera and didn't speak as loudly as it needed to be in order for me to pick up all of the words on the camera, but that's okay. You just speak a little louder next time. That's just the way it has to be. And of course, every microphone is different. Maybe on your computer it sounded good, so I'm very hesitant to take off points or Mondo points for speaking softly into a microphone, because maybe when you listen to the video, it sounded appropriate because your speakers are louder. So it's difficult to do that. Maybe if we were in a classroom, I would have a stronger attitude and opinion, but Generally, that was probably the biggest mistake. But here we go. Let's talk about the things that you've mastered. And this list of objectives or things that you've mastered actually comes from the objective list um, that we had in your class syllabus at the front of the workbook. So here are the things you needed to do during the course or have at the end of the course. You need to demonstrate basic communication principles, which you all did. We did this the very first week. We talked about the SMCR communication model, and you had a discussion activity where you argued for and against certain positions on how the SMCR model, particularly internal and external noise, might affect when school classes have lunch. So that was a very interesting activity, and you all did that pretty well. So good job there. So you've mastered that skill to my satisfaction anyway. Select and limit speech topics for the audience. Once again, I went through your topics before you presented. Um, I can't really, except for there's no, it's not like it's a even if I asked you to change your topic a little bit or revise it a little bit, um, nothing was truly totally inappropriate. Controversial maybe, but that's not inappropriate. So there you go. You all had a good idea how to select and limit speech topics for the audience, which would be me slash your classmates. So good job there. Arrange ideas in an organized fashion. You've mostly done that pretty well. Pretty much every stage of the assignment, there wasn't someone that was so incoherent that it was difficult to truly follow and understand. So you've mastered that. Select and use supporting materials. Again, even in just the informative speech, you've used examples, rule books, and things like that, which were totally appropriate for informative and demonstration speeches. So excellent work there. Construct proper visual aids. I guess technically I can't pass judgment upon this yet, but you're turning that assignment in tonight, so thumbs up. Deliver both informative and persuasive presentations. Again, I guess with the persuasive thing, you're going to do that on Friday, but hey, um, you've mastered that. You've definitely done the informative stuff, and now you're just working on the persuasive presentations. You need to choose accurate and vivid words. Again, um, with the techniques that I've had you kind of follow with a claim data warrant. Again, I guess I can't pass judgment upon that yet because you're still turning that in. But when we talked about the informative speech and how to make your information interesting, again, um, you as a group, you all did pretty well on that, and the words were accurate. Again, there were a large number of international students in this section, and honestly, um, except for maybe an accent or two, it wasn't necessarily obvious that you were from abroad. So again, that's I guess a compliment I want to give you. Um, so you've mastered that. Now here's one that is this again comes from the book, and it says to improve your confidence. I am a bit of a curmudgeon, and I don't necessarily feel like I can give you the emotional confidence, or rather, the kind of confidence can't come from anywhere else other than inside yourself. But I do want to say that as you look at this list of things that you're able to do, and you look back on your projects and you think about, what they entailed and how actually one of the comments that I did receive a lot was, this was a bit easier or less work than I thought it would be, or less unpleasant than I thought it would be. I take those kinds of feelings or sentiments as this being achieved, right? You're improving your confidence. Maybe by doing these things, you feel better prepared to do it next time. Maybe you're not, describing yourself as confident, but you are in a better position than before. So I would say that we can check that off there. Analyzing your audience. Now, this is something that honestly we haven't done this semester, and that's really the thrust of the next assignment. And I will talk about that in a bit, but you did choose appropriate topics for the audience, so it's not like you haven't completely done some kind of thinking about what this audience is, what's appropriate for them, what might be interesting, what do I know about them, how does that relate to what I want to present. So you've done that thinking before, you just haven't really formally done it as an isolated assignment. Okay, so, and again, we're going to conquer that this week. And then you display increased ability in critical listening. And again, a lot of times people think, critical listening, they get it mixed up, this word critical, with problem solving. People think that critical listening is, the chips are down, we need somebody to really, drive it home and and listen really good and get a great solution going. Critical listening is different. Critical listening is about listening to something. It's much like being an art critic or a movie critic, right? You watch or listen or look at something and you come up with the things that you think are good about it, come up with things that would need improvement, and then using those two kinds of, I guess, lists or ideas, you arrive at a final judgment of quality, right? That's what we mean by critical listening. And you did that when you did your peer critiques of your classmates, so that we can check that off the list. And you were ethical while doing all of this. So there you go. And those are all the course objectives. The only one that I think that we can't really tick off yet is this analyze your audience, and we're just about to get to that. So that's awesome. You're definitely, like I said, I know it was a hard 5 weeks, but you've gone ahead and done it. So let's go ahead and look at that last objective there. This is the persuasive analysis assignment. Now, if you open up your workbook to page 99, you will see they call it the case study and persuasion activity. So if it's not on page 99, look in your table of contents for that page labeled case study and persuasion. And the case, or rather the explanation here, it reads like this. Imagine that you are a member of the City Council of Zenith, population 125,000. The federal government just cut appropriations to the city. Tonight, you must discuss continuing or curtailing 6 projects. 3 of the projects must be curtailed. That means that you have to reduce the resources and performance of those programs in order to save money. And then 3 can remain untouched. Your task is to decide which of those 3 programs to curtail. The effects of each vote to curtail are listed below. And you don't necessarily need to worry about the other instructions about placing checks and things like that. Your assignment is to make an argument for each of the 3 that you would eliminate. And secondary to that, you may also argue that each of the 3 you would like to keep. If you would rather say, this program, and this program are just too important to curtail, therefore the things that we're curtailing are simply what is left over after making this decision about what to keep. So you can go either approach, okay? So you can either argue that a certain program just isn't needed, or you can argue that such a program is important enough that you would need to enshrine it and making sure that it continues forward. Now, if you look at these 6 options here, there are no right answers to this question, okay? No right answers at all. In fact, you might say that there are maybe a lot of wrong answers, and you are trying to choose the one that seems less wrong. And if that's that sometimes that's how life happens. The exercise is to figure out which of those that you want to get rid of. Now, to do this, or to help you in doing this, I have provided a link here to the City of Muncie census.gov quick facts. So we're going to assume that the city of Zenith is actually the city of Muncie. And all of the information that you would need to know about the city of Muncie is there, or this particular city is there, in order to make your arguments. Again, it's up to you about what programs to cut, why to cut them, and like I said, there's no right answer to this question. That's what makes the assignment hard. If you need, so you can use information from the above data here. This just has facts and statistics. It's pretty dry. For qualitative information, in other words, information like about what the community wants or what kind of people, and by what kind of people, I mean the kind of people in terms of their attitude and their disposition, things that you wouldn't find on the census. You need to rely on your experience being a student in Muncie, or being a student, or being a person in a community like Muncie, or in Indiana. We're kind of assuming, again, that the city of Zenith is a smaller town located in Midwest United States, even though we have people from all over taking this class. I do happen to know that most of you have been on either you live currently in if you're an all online program, you live currently somewhere in the United States, uh, and the vast majority of you actually do go to Ball State. You just are taking this class online. Nonetheless, um, use that experience to help you get qualitative information. And of course, you can Google whatever you want. Like I said, let's just assume for the sake of this assignment that Muncie is the city of Zenith. Okay, so if you Google anything on Muncie, you can use that as a fact to support your argument for one or more of the programs to get cut. All right. Don't forget to explain why the community would be best served by your plan to curtail these programs. Um, so again, you always one of the things about persuasion is you always want to relate your arguments or relate your ideas back to the audience. And the audience in this case are going to be the citizens of Muncie slash Zenith. All right, it's this hypothetical community that you are helping. Um, so that you need to explain why this would be good for them. Um, and that is the assignment. What you need to do is you need to make your response as a discussion board post in the Persuasive Analysis discussion forum by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. That should be posted by the time this video goes out. If you use the proper tool and model for argument, this assignment is only, quote unquote, 3 paragraphs at a minimum. All right, so that's 1 paragraph for each program that you want to save slash or program that you want to curtail. If you want to go ahead and make an argument for curtailing 3 programs and then a separate 3 arguments for the 3 programs you want to save, that's up to you. But again, the assignment that is as is laid out in the workbook and as I am conceiving of it for our online section is that you are really coming up with a central thesis about the 3 programs you want to cut. Right? So you only need to make arguments related to that. Like I said, feel free to take the other approach and say, here are 1 or more programs that are just too important to curtail, and therefore at least one of the programs we're going to end up cutting is just kind of what's left over after we've saved the priority program or programs. So that's your discussion board assignment for the week. It is again due on Sunday, so you get a little bit of a breather. It's not that long. It might be a bit of a thinker. And like I said, I gave you a link to some information in the PowerPoint site. But then if you want to Google it, you certainly can. Again, if you end up using any of that information, use the proper spoken source citation that we've talked about throughout the semester, which would be tell the audience, the author, the publication, and the date it was published. If you end up using the census information, you can simply say there is no author listed there, but you can say, according to the U.S. Census from 2010, that would be how you would cite that information in your discussion post. You would just say those words, according to the U.S. Census in 2010, whatever statistic it is that you're talking about. All right. Again, you've been great asking me questions. Again, I think that the most common question this week was I can't find the persuasive speech outline, and you're right. I myself have a book from an earlier point in time in which the sections were 16 weeks long, and um, it's actually filed under the newer textbooks as the group speech. The appropriate outline for this speech is filed under the group speech outline in the newer textbooks. I'm just a doofus. So if you look up for outline, skeletal outline for the group speech, that is the same outline, the same Monroe's motivated sequence outline that we talked about a week ago, or probably a week and a half ago now. I believe it was a Sunday that we talked about it on the live broadcast. So you'll see that it's basically the same from a video that you've seen before. There's no new information on it. It just might help you. So it might be under, so if you can't find a persuasive speech skeletal outline in your workbook, try looking under group speech skeletal outline. It's the same. Okay. Well, like I said, partly due to the lateness of this broadcast, I don't think anyone is watching. I might just kind of chill here a little bit, but if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. You've been stellar at doing that so far. I really appreciated teaching you this session. And in these final days of the semester, I'm sorry, the session, I look forward to helping you more. Again, your grades for the informative assignment should be coming out soon, probably within the next, by probably I mean the maximum waiting time would be maybe another 24 hours, would be next evening. Um, it did take me a bit longer than I thought it would take me to get through all of the videos, but with various technical problems, having to email students to re-upload their video, Blackboard is just a it's just a pain in the butt. I tell you what. But like I said, my general impression is that as a group, you're all doing great. Um, don't mess it up now by failing to turn in your assignments in this last week of the 5-week session. So, all right. Have a great evening.